Apparently, we need about 69 million teachers before or by 2030. Now, join me on today's episode of the Teacher's Time Off with Adora as I share my thoughts. Welcome to the Teacher's Time Off with Adora. Welcome to another episode. Yay! I'm super excited to be here with you today. If you are a new subscriber, if you're just coming here for the first time, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm blowing confetti for you in the air and I'm screaming and shouting in my head for you. You're very much welcome. If you just stumbled across this video, someone shared it with you, why not subscribe right now? Just click on the subscribe button and also ensure that you click on the bell button till you see the parentheses, or just click on all so that you can get notifications and know when I go live. Now, if you are a returning subscriber, I love you so much. Thank you for coming back every single time. It just means that you're learning something and that you're gaining something from this channel. I appreciate you and I want to say that keep doing what you're doing because it is working. And let's dive in. Recently, after the Transforming Education Summit, the United Nations Transforming Education Summit, there were many issues that came up during the summit, and one of them that I particularly took keen into was the fact that we need about 69 million teachers by 2030. Now 2030 is around the corner already, guys. In case you do not know, that is just about 8 years from now, and we need 69 million teachers. So I just want to share my thoughts in this video on what I just what started coming up in my head when I saw the figures, right? Because right now there are many teachers that are leaving the profession. I cannot even lie to you. Some teachers have left, some teachers are getting tired, some teachers plan to leave, right? So I'm just wondering, how are we going to get there? Like, immediately I heard it and immediately I saw the figures, I'm like, how are we going to get to this number? Is it possible? Because one of the things that we do at the Fresh Look Africa is to ensure that we provide quality teachers for every student, to ensure that every student has access to quality teachers. And at the end of the day, we are also through that empowering our students to empower our nation in Nigeria and in Africa and across the globe, right? And so I'm just wondering, with the number of out of school children, right, we have over, just in Nigeria alone, over about 23 million out of school children, and I am wondering how we are going to be able to even have available teachers in Nigeria and how these children are going to have access to quality teachers. So it's just pardon my French, a crazy wicked problem that we are facing with our education sector in Africa, or education system in Africa and even around the globe. Funny how even right here in Canada, teachers still complain. Every single time we have conversations around education, they complain about their education system. They complain about their education system, and it's just really it's very appalling, really. But before we even talk about my thoughts, for every time I come here, I've always said this, even right from the beginning, that for everything I talk about and everything I do here is just an extension of all that I have learned, the knowledge that I have sought after, and that I have come to share with you. And so recently we talked about wicked problems. We discussed on the topic of wicked problems, and then moving forward we'll be looking at issues that we've been facing in the education system. When I saw this figure, the cost even made more sense. Right? It just made sense that I was doing it that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to read statistics out for you from the book that we've been reading. It's called Supervision and Instructional Leadership. This is the book that we are currently reading. I don't know if you can see it. Supervision and Instructional Leadership by Carl Glickman and two other people. And I'm just going to read statistics from this particular book. And so talking about issues that teachers face, right? So from statistics, it said between 33 and 50% of teachers drop out of the profession within their first 7 years of teaching, with up to 15% leaving in the first 2 years. Most of the most promising teachers are the ones who leave the profession early in their careers. And finally, as a result of their initial negative experiences, many teachers who stay in the profession develop a survival mentality, a narrow set of teaching methods, and resistance to experimentation and change that may last throughout their teaching careers. Now, I don't know if this resonates with you, because it did resonate with me a lot. Many teachers that leave do not leave because they want to leave. Some of them love teaching. I know I've talked about this in one of my videos. They love teaching. They want to teach. But because of the conditions aren't right, there are things that are going on. And some of them are unspoken of, or we can see, but we've just come to live with them. That survival mentality for some teachers that have stayed in the profession. Some of them are just living on that survival mentality, and I've said, okay, it is what it is. We're going to do what we have to do, and then whatever, really. And so it just got me thinking, it got me thinking, because the question I kept asking was, how are we going to get there? 69 million teachers, like million teachers, and we have about 33 to 55% leaving in their first 7 years. Like they leave, and this is not periodically. Every day, at every moment, we see teachers leaving to different professions, and some of the teachers that remain there have become adamant to change. They've become complacent, and they've said, whether they pay me or not, I don't care. I'm just going to come to work, do what I have to do, and go. There's no motivation anymore to push themselves and become better. And so I'm just going to be talking about some of my thoughts, what I think, how I think we can get there, some of the solutions that we can begin to look at as a school, at the federal level, state level, school levels, and even as individuals, what we can begin to do as teachers and school owners, administrators, and all of that. So just stick with me. This is a very I don't know, it's just a very reflective video. So let's talk. Where do we begin? Where do we start from? Whilst discussing with my course mates on the last topic we talked about in this course that I'm taking on, the current issues we are facing in the educational system or in the education sector, one thing that kept reoccurring, and even when I was preparing my response, because it's an online course right now, our classes are online, while I was preparing my post, one thing that resonated with me a lot, or one thing that kept nagging at my heart, was mental health. And by the time I started reading all the teachers' responses, I saw that mental health also came up. We need to begin to look at the mental health of teachers. We need to begin to consider the mental health of teachers. Guys, teachers are going through a lot. I feel like we carry so much baggage and so much weight because we are part of the people, or one of the major players in the transformation of a student or a child. Apart from parents, we are like the next major players in the lives of children, and so it is a lot of responsibility. It is not just going to the classroom every day. It's not just about teaching. We are looking at nurturing. We are looking at the work of transformation. So every time we go to the classroom, we pay attention to our students. We have to ensure that there's nothing lagging. Plus our family issues, our work outside of the school environment, and the other things that we have to face, we need to begin to pay attention to the mental health of teachers. It is tasking. It is tasking. You are thinking of, imagine for those that have 24 children in their class, 30 children, some 100 and more, having to think of these children and how they can become better and ensure that they are, well-to-do citizens at the end of the day. It is a lot of work, and we need to begin to consider the mental health of our teachers. I remember in our first cohort of the Skill Teachers Academy, after our mental health check-in, many teachers were like, oh my God, I needed this. Sometimes we don't even know what is wrong. We're overwhelmed, we are hurt, we are angry, we are tired, we are stressed, but we don't even know where these stressors are coming from or what is going on. And then we go to work again in the morning and we are expected to do the same things and do better. Mental health is important. School owners, school administrators, what are you doing to ensure that your teachers are in the best mental state possible? Do you have a mental health expert in your school? Can we begin to have that? Can we begin to give teachers access to therapists or counselors? It's not just about having counselors in your school for students. Can teachers also have this access to these people as well? Plus their HMOs. Please, we need to begin to do that. At least once or twice in a term, have a mental health specialist or expert come into your school, have conversations. Take your teachers on a retreat. It does not kill you. Don't wait till the end of the school year to have a retreat for your teachers. Sometimes some schools will say they're having retreat, but that retreat is a work meeting, not a retreat. Just have times where your teachers just come, rest, have light conversations. Let them feel at ease. But some schools always having work meetings, always having trainings, always having PDL sessions every single time. The teachers must do this, must do that, then the only one time teachers get to rest is during the summer, and that's why after the summer some teachers don't come back. After the long holidays, some teachers don't come back. They quit because they are tired. Nobody cares. I remember there was a particular time I was having a conversation and I said some schools will put on your contract that you have access to take the opportunity to take leave during your school year, but best believe that leave they're talking about is during the holidays. You can only take your leave during the holidays, not during the school year. I mean, not maternity leave and not paternity leave or whatever. An actual leave that you're entitled to take for probably 10 days in a year or 2 weeks in a year, where you can maybe break it at different parts of the year. You are not allowed to. And then when it's time for the holiday, they'll tell you to take your leave. But it's the holiday. I'm entitled to go on a holiday. But some schools don't have that, that structure. And I think it's just horrible that some schools take their teachers for granted. They come to work every day, they put in their best, and at the end of the day, there's really no help. We're getting to that part. Please, mental health. We need to begin to take the mental health of teachers more seriously. The next one I want to talk about is resources or support system. Having a support system, a lack of support system. Now, let's not even go there because I know how some teachers or even lecturers right now are hurt and are in pain because of this. In Nigeria, ASU has been on strike just because the government has refused to pay lecturers their salaries. Now, how do you expect these people to come back to work? Some lecturers have gone, they've left the country, they've left their jobs, they are not interested because the people that employ them are not interested in them. And that's why it is very important to have an environment where the leader has a culture of trust. Now, when we're talking of a culture of trust, it's not just about I trust you, you trust me. It's the fact that you are my leader. I believe that you are responsible for me, and because you show that you're responsible for me, I will be responsible enough to take care of the work that you have given me. But when I see that you are not interested in how I live my life or how my life is going, or if all is going well or bad for me, then there's no way I'm going to take your work very seriously. And that is the way it is right now. No, there are no access to resources, fundings, grants, salaries that people are working for. They are working. They are not being paid properly. Some teachers will need access to probably gadgets or increment in salaries or training opportunities for masters or to further their education. But some of those things are not available. And you expect them to come to work with their A game. They're going to leave. Can we begin to talk about these things? If a teacher is working on something that is going to make the school better, or you believe that whatever this person is working on is going to transform the lives of your students, fund it or look for how to support that teacher. A teacher is going through a crisis. Sometimes many employers will say, leave your work at home and then leave your problems at home and then come to work. How is that possible? Something is weighing me down and you expect that I'm going to hold my head high every single time to come to work. Yes, sometimes it happens, but one day the person will crash. If a teacher is going through a crisis, or a staff or an administrator in your school, be available. Not just sending money from the Joy and Sorrow funds that teachers will donate every month. Ensure that you are there. Show that you love them. And that's one of the things that I really appreciated in one of the schools I worked in. That's togetherness. Oh, this person is doing something. Let's go. This person is doing something. Let's be there. That support system. For schools that have that structure, we can do better. The government needs to do better. These people are education is a weapon. You want your economy to be transformed as a nation, sow into the education of that nation. Sow into your education sector. It will really be harvest because you're transforming lives, and those people are the ones that are coming back to work for the nation. They are the ones coming to add to the growth of your nation. When teachers don't have resources, then there's only so much they can do. And that's why many times teachers get frustrated. Because I remember whilst we were in class, we were having that conversation. There was something that someone said that, why is it that teachers are always expected to do so much with so little? And it resonated with me a lot. And I know it will resonate with other teachers. Teachers are expected to do so much with so little. And that is why this ASU strike is going on. You expect lecturers to do so much, to research, to go out, to do a lot of things, and you expect them to come to class to be at their best. Even if sometimes I get very upset at the mindset of some lecturers because some of them are just there for the money. But I'm talking of in Nigeria because that's where I have schooled. But at the same time, if you have the opportunities or you have the resources available for them, will they or will they not take it? Some people will say they won't, but why not provide those resources first? In the elementary as well, teachers are expected to know everything, to do everything. But yet, they pay them so little. I tell people sometimes, I say, those teaching the elementary, preschool, Montessori, they should be paid the highest because they do so much. They have to be very careful because any mistake they make will have a negative effect on the child. So it's a whole lot of, there's a whole burden and there's pressure on those teachers. Now, the last one I want to talk about today is the lack of involvement of teachers in nationwide curriculum development, or let me say decision making in the education sector. Whether at the federal level, whether at the state level, whether at school levels, teachers need to be involved in decision making, major decision making, creation of policies, development of curriculum, designing of instruction. Teachers have to be involved. You cannot expect that the teachers that are going to teach this curriculum are not involved in the development. Because the question I will now ask is, who are the people on the board? Who are the people creating this curriculum? Who are the people developing it? Who are the people on the board? Who are the people on the panel? If they are not teachers, how do you want to know how or what strategies to put in place to ensure that this curriculum is the best, or this curriculum can be taught in the best way possible. I look at the curriculum here in New Brunswick. Teachers still complain about this curriculum, but in comparison to Nigeria's curriculum, I think that it's okay. They have broken their curriculum in bits in a way that it's manageable. The Nigerian curriculum right now, every week you are doing something new. Every week you are doing something new. Sometimes highest 2 weeks, but here, sometimes for a long period of time, they're talking about one thing because they understand that they need to emphasize topics, they need to repeat, they need to ensure that their children are getting it. If you do not involve someone in the planning of a particular vision or a goal, I don't know how you want them to be able to execute it. Sometimes, even if it's just, we have this document, we have this curriculum, can we have a nationwide panel, nationwide discussion where we have teachers who would scrutinize this curriculum? And it takes us back to the whole, what is the purpose of education? Why do we have why must the education sector be in existence in Nigeria? It's a big question because it will guide us in a whole lot of things. Teachers have to be involved. Teachers have to be on board. You can't expect them to teach what they don't understand. They need to understand. They need to take the curriculum and look at it and say, okay, this is how I'm going to break it into different parts. This is how I'm going to teach it. These are the strategies I'm going to put in place. Yes, teachers are doing their best, their very best to be involved, but only at class level or grade level, not even school level sometimes, or state level, forget federal level. So we need to begin to involve more teachers in policy making, in decision making, in doing some of these things that you know that is very important for the education sector, not at school level alone, from the federal to school, even to grade level. And so I'm just going to round off. I'm going to round off by saying we need to do the needful at the school level, state level, federal level. We need to do the needful. If we want, if we need 69 million teachers by 2030, we need to do the needful. And I know that we know what to do. Speaking to school owners, speaking to those in government, speaking to those who have access to those in government, and speaking to those who are on boards, and speaking to those who are on panels, and teachers themselves. You need to begin to take your mental health more seriously as well. And do the needful. All right. Thank you for joining me on another Teacher's Time Off with Adora. I will see you next week, Tuesday. But before you go, ensure that you subscribe, share this video, and share your thoughts with me. What do you think? Can we get 69 million teachers by 2030? If yes, what can we begin to do? If no, why? This is a jam question, 10 marks. Right? Let me hear your thoughts. I want to read them. I want to hear them. You can send me a DM. You can send me a message. Just let me hear your thoughts. I'll see you next week, Tuesday. Stay blessed.